Salutations, my Fallout lovers. It is Matty here today bringing you a Fallout 4 wishlist video. Now, before anything, be sure to check out the link in the description to my previous video. That is a Fallout 4 news update on why Fallout 4 has been appearing in a bunch of random stores around the world online. So, this series is created by your comments, so be sure to let me know in the comment section down below what you would like to see in the next installment of the Fallout franchise. If your comment is awesome enough, you will be featured along with two other commenters just like Grim Zombie X. He says, I want the perk every level thing back. Also, more perks and better perks. So I figured this was a simple wish, but also one that I didn't realize is actually a pressing issue. So if you do not know, there have been different perk rates throughout all the various Fallouts. In Fallout 1 and 2 and Tactics, I believe it was every 3 levels you unlock a perk. And this was I'm not a huge fan of personally. In Tactics, it's like a clusterfuck too, because like it goes off of ghouls, super mutants, death claws, dogs, etc. It's crazy. And then you have Fallout 3, which is always 1. So every time you level up, you also choose a perk, which everyone loved. Then New Vegas, for some reason, took a step back and added more perks, I believe. But they made it so every 2 levels, you have to pick a perk. And I agree with this, that picking a new perk every level was awesome. If you had this massive perk list and you were able to pick one every level for say 30 levels, we'll go with that cap, that would be awesome. I'd imagine 50 though, because then there would be like a list of like 300 perks, and that'd be awesome. While we're speaking of perks, I'd also like them to maybe when we level up on the perk list, have them categorized, because I realize when I'm scrolling through these perk lists, I'm just kind of like glancing over them, kind of not reading too deep into them, because there's so many you can unlock at once based off your skills and everything that it's unreal. I love it if they kind of categorize them in certain things I feel I'll need as I progress through the game. So that's one thing I just wanted to add in there. But yes, I believe that the perk every level thing should return. Anyways, moving on to the next wish, coming from Malcolm Moran. He says they should make the Wacky Wasteland perk even more wacky and dark by adding enemies that only move if unseen. Weeping Angels, almost impossible to kill but killable. Now, his example I'm just going to kind of ignore, but I like the idea of making the Wacky Wastelander perk, or the Wild Wastelander perk, I apologize, even crazier. This is a perk that was introduced in New Vegas, and I love to see this one come back in general, and I'd love to see Bethesda just knock it out of the park. One of the examples of the Wild Wastelander perk that you could only do with it is, number one, you had random encounters, and the most famous one is just running into the aliens and getting the unique alien blaster that you can only get. That makes it an incredibly rare weapon, because you can't replenish that ammo whatsoever unless you obviously use console commands. But anyways, it's really crazy, and I'd love to see Bethesda just go balls out with it. I don't know exactly what a good example would be, but just stuff that would give the game that extra sizzle if I wanted to try to take a less immersive route with the Wild Wastelander perk. I think Obsidian did a good job of holding the medium of, wow, this is a really crazy kind of thing, and also keeping the atmosphere of the game. But I feel like this could be like I don't want to say a separate option. Keep it as a perk that you choose in the beginning or whatever, but make it to a point where they're going to specify that your playthrough will be vastly altered, because you're going to be seeing such crazy shit that you wouldn't see in a wasteland normally. But anyways, moving on to the final wish from Joel Wallen. He says, what would make the world more immersive is having a way larger voice cast. Every human being has their own personal, quote, awesome, end quote, voice. And incorporating that, quote, in my opinion, end quote, be one of the most important immersion factors of all. So, I like this wish a lot. Now, for the sake of game budgets, a lot of game companies don't spend the money on voice actors. They go for the all-star ones, they go for a handful of them, and that's it. In my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, I would love to have a diverse, just voice cast, because you look at Skyrim, for example. I always use Skyrim as an example in every wishlist video, I feel. But I've noticed that there's like 50 million James Wood characters. Like, it's like, what the hell is going on? Like, it's the same voice over and over and over, and you ignore it because, when you're playing Skyrim for that first time ever, most of us were kind of just engrossed by so many other things that, it was a minor setback to hear the same voices over and over again. But I agree with him here that having a larger voice cast would give the game a lot more personality, a lot more depth. This person would be significant to me instead of being like, oh, it's another person with James Woods as their voice actor. I believe it's James Wood. If I'm wrong, it sounds stupid and I don't care. But regardless of the fact I don't like the repetitive voice actors in open world games. It's a really bad trope that's been occurring lately, and I love it if Bethesda could just get a varied voice cast. I don't care if they're a bunch of all-stars or not, you know, don't get me wrong, I love the names, and having, like, you know, Yuri Lowenthal, for example, or someone along those lines, Troy Baker in the games, you know, like where people hear those names and they're like, okay, cool, you know, we're gonna have some good voice work. That's great, but I'd love you just, you know, just put in a bunch of voices. That's all we ask. I know it costs a little extra money, but you're publishing enough games to make the money, aren't you? Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to leave your comments down below on what you would like to see in the next installment of the Fallout franchise. Like I say, if your comment is awesome enough, then you will be featured in this series along with 2 other commenters. Other than that, be sure to follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.